Welcome everybody. My name is Earl Dodd and I'm here to talk about all things high performance architecture and how that works to create optimized AI, ML, workloads, and workflows. A little bit about myself. I've been with WWT almost 4 years now, and I'm part of the global solutions and architecture team, and I lead the business practice around high performance computing, supercomputing, and help people out with sustainability efforts, emerging technologies, things of that nature. I've been doing this just under a half a century. I've got about 44 years of experience in supercomputers, and I worked for Seymour Cray. It was a wonderful time in my life. So let's go on a journey. Let's take this thing called the HPA and understand what it is, and to do that, what is changing? What is changing out there in the information and technology world? Here's the challenge. Everything's changing. Can you believe it? Yes. Every vector of technology, from the data centers, the facilities and cooling, the processors, the memory, everything is changing. And change can be challenging. It can be exciting for some. It allows new opportunities out there, but sometimes you start lagging. And when a company or a country starts lagging, you don't become competitive. And if you don't compute, you don't compete. And so this change in this technology landscape needs to be addressed, and the way WWT addresses this is through what we call the high performance architecture, or HPA. The HPA is more of a philosophy. It's not just a technology. It's more of a philosophy on how to build and transform and discover your needs and be able to build a future-proof solution. Now, if anybody tells you that they can read the crystal ball of information technology and tell you what's going to happen in 5 years, I'll be a little bit concerned. But we're going to go on that journey, and I can at least get you to up to 5 years. So here we go. We're going to put this all together and start wrapping this around without talking about technology per se. WWT is a solution-based ideation to outcome company. And we're going to put these together in an advanced capability. So let's kind of start talking about what's needed, what's changed, what do we hear, what does the businesses, the companies, the countries start asking us. And it all kind of puts together around this people and processes and technologies. We build this framework to work with people, to work within the processes and the technologies. And we do this for a reason, a variety of reasons. And that's to improve collaboration. It makes no sense to go and compute or store and ignore if you don't bring this out and collaborate, whether internally into a company or externally in a smart city, for example. And that's what's driving the competitiveness of that. And we always start with the end in mind. We always start, who is the consumer? Who is going to be using the technology and the data and in the processes along the way. And you do that for certain reasons, right? You do that to improve productivity, connectivity, billions and billions of devices, billions and billions of IP addresses are out there, and to connect that. WWT also believes very strongly of what we call the digital literacy. Why are we doing this? How are we communicating this? And what's the value associated with this? Because change is going to come. So the consumer has part of these needs, and now we start helping through information technology or information and communication technology. One of the first things we think about as a company when helping customers and countries is their security posture. Security is fundamental. Cybersecurity, cyber physics, critical infrastructure protection. And we do this by creating solutions like our cyber range, to improving and modernizing infrastructure, automation of systems for capabilities of improving or updating your firmware, all the entire ecosystem. And eventually that reduces costs, reduces risk, and creates longevity due to competitiveness. But that's only 2 out of the 3 pillars of this journey on the HPA. And the third one comes with, and pretty much tied more with the people, but it's the time to lead. Maybe there's a time to follow, but now in this world, in this economy, and the changing economy in front of us, is the time to lead. So leadership starts bringing in these capabilities, like I said, on risk and controls and compliance, and starts delivering that to the consumer. That consumer experience, the user experience, is what drives the use and consumption of technology, use and consumption of data. So we have to put all of these together, the consumer with the IT, ICT, the technology bent, and the people through leadership and how to drive this forward fast. I'm going to take you now through another direction. We kind of defined the overall philosophy of the HPA. Now let's start looking at trends. Why are we doing this? What's happening? What does leadership, whether it's a company or a country, look at? What are they faced with? As I said in the beginning, change is inevitable, change is happening faster, and our societies are becoming somewhat distracted. But we need to reduce our carbon footprint and be more ESG friendly. We need to address this growth in everybody is born with an IP address, it seems like, today. There is a market out there, trillions of dollars of putting in systems and capturing data, all these pieces, but you need to put them together in a coherent, cohesive, safe way. So the industry, the market, the need is expanding based on a lot of these factors. These are not all the factors, but there are many of them that are driving the high performance architecture. So what do? What does WWT do? Well, we do a lot of things, but I'm going to only talk about the high performance architecture here. So there's certain characteristics that we put this together, and we kind of build this up into the stack chart. And in the world of high performance computing, you may have heard that in supercomputing, and now more broadly is this pyramid that starts with the exascale. You may have heard the US made it to the first exascale systems in Frontier and at Oak Ridge National Labs. A lot of the computing pieces in the high end or capability machines or throughput machines sitting in there. There's commercial capabilities or commercial computing systems, maybe not petascale systems, but pretty close to petascale. And they're a throughput machine. They run lots of things, push it through to get to outcome. And then finally, there's what is appropriate for the cloud, what is not. How do you define data governance? How do you define data gravity? And now the big thing is data sovereignty. Where does this data live? And this is our focus area. We can help and support people in the very capability market, but our support is in the capacity and the commercial computing market and driving this together with what is cloud appropriate. Where should the data live and the computing environment around it? So this is how we characterize where the HPA sits. Now, you may have heard the world is converged and hyper-converged and things. So there's also another convergence that's been going on with high-performance computing and AI and big data. And so at WWT, we've spent a lot of time working on the commercial computing side that I just talked about, and the capacity side, and the capability side. And our approach to this is being that trusted advisor. Trust is number one. You lose trust, you lose business. You lose faith. And we build this from a very data-centric model, and we have the world's greatest co-integration capability, whether it's through our integration centers or the advanced technology centers to de-risk. And we put this together in several growth markets. The HPA is certainly well built and can standardize for the classic computing, enterprise computing market, but I want to make sure that there's much more. Everything is changing, and these are some of the big things that are changing for HPC and AI and all the things that are going to be driving future workloads and workflows. Now I'm going to put it all together. We're going to sum it up, so to speak, and hopefully this diagram or this chart will kind of, you'll start to see how it starts resonating. We, again, always start with the people. Our CEO will tell you, number one, it's people. We start with the process. What do you do and go through? And leverage best of breed, best of performance, best of security technology. Remember where I had collaboration and competitiveness? We now add the different pieces to the puzzle, and the HPA sits underneath this, or helps hold up the framework. And what's the number one piece when we start building a high-performance architecture is it's about data. And the data model, and the data governance, the protection, the integrity of that, the flow. But we're also seeing areas where we might not have enough real-time data. We might actually have to synthesize data. And we do that with a lot of our AI models because we can't drive 450 trillion miles to improve our level 2, level 3, level 4 autonomic driving. And that's true with a lot of things. Data is great, but we have to connect that with. I had the IT, ICT pillar there. Now I have the connectivity, the mobility, the edge. One of the largest growth markets that we have out there is the edge. And we pull this together into smart spaces and start building out those AI, ML, DL workloads and workflows. And finally, then we talk about infrastructure. WWT is a solutions engineering company. We eventually get down to infrastructure, but that's the last. We don't lead with infrastructure. We're an ideation to outcome company. But in the infrastructure, we want to make sure that we're in the whole process of modernization. It's not only faster GPUs and newer processor chipsets. It's all about the modernization of the data center, the improvement in the algorithms and models associated with this. It's about having trusted systems. And that's what we put together, is the data, centric to all, connected with the best of breed infrastructure to help the consumer, the IT shop, and the leadership. That's the high performance architecture. How do you get there? There's a path. There's multiple paths. But one thing we know is if you don't start your journey with the first step, you'll never get there. And we do a lot of work around different areas and the transformation that we've done. I won't go through all of these, but I mentioned security. Many times it's a fundamental component of what we do. The emerging technologies and emerging computing capabilities out there. COVID proved something called urgent computing, where all the big supercomputing and HPC systems came together logically to find the pathway, the antigen, the cure. Haven't got to the cure yet. The automation, the cloud, all of these are coming together. And we could spend entire workshops and briefings on each one of these. So we're starting to close on our journey here, and I want to bring it home to why WWT. Why worldwide technology? We believe because we have done this, and we are doing this now for companies and countries, and we are the trusted architect. We are the advisors. We have the capabilities to discriminate between what is working what is not, and what's coming down the road. And we are building systems of systems for these enterprises to better compete, to better collaborate, to learn about the future. Just a quick slide. We believe that the data center is fundamentally changing. It's becoming very dynamic. It's happening just like through the automation and all the tools and capability. It's maybe hard to read, but it's fun to see what modernization is going to occur, and it's starting even at the data center level. How do you get in touch with WWT and start using this? Capabilities? Well, there's no better place than the Advanced Technology Center. The Country Club of Technology, the ATC. So please come to wwt.com/ATC, register, look at these use cases, start running a lab, and starting to understand this new age of the high-performance architecture. We have many different capabilities around there in the labs, just selected a few, but we can demonstrate how to put IT together with consumers, leadership-driven business needs. And we do this through numerous ways, certainly at the ATC, but we have strategy workshops, strategy papers, WWT research content, and we can do this, the briefing to the workshop to the program on site. And with that, I am done. I appreciate your time. Thank you.